email complaining of a severe UTI. May 16th, respond to 73 Boulder Drive, time of 17:01. Zero 31, EMS traffic for a call 10 Fox Trail.
031.
So,
You're clear.
17:01.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
I'll probably be muted for a good bit of this. I'm actually getting somebody else to assist me on my computer. It's
Oh, really?
frustrating.
Well, and here I am with a problem that only you can solve, Steve.
Okay, what's going on?
I was given a HP Stream 7, which you can't
Cool.
see.
Yeah.
It's a Intel Atom quad core. It only has a gig of RAM and 32
Oh.
gig hard drive. Yeah. It also uses 32-bit EFI.
Okay.
Well, I've only gotten Anti-X to install and actually run properly on it. It's got Ubuntu on it right now, but I keep getting a kernel panic. It won't even boot. It just kernel panics. And I can't get anything else to install on it. I've tried Debian, I've tried
DSL. I think that has a
DSL.
damn small Linux.
Dan Salt Links, yeah.
I've run a graphical interface on that with 3 floppies.
Okay.
I think it needs something like 128 megs of RAM.
Okay, I'll download it. I'll try it. I tried what was the other one I tried? It was a really, really slim I can get almost all of them to boot off of the USB, but I can't get them to actually install correct. Boot high.
Body.
Body.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got that one to install. No, I didn't get that one. That one ran sweet, like extremely quick, but I could not get it to install to save my life. Ubuntu is really was one that I was surprised worked. I tried Sparky. I tried a couple of different versions of Debian because a couple forums had said that Debian would work on it. Couldn't get those to work. And I don't really particularly care for Anti-X. It's too weird.
There was a desktop I liked a long time ago called Rat Poison.
Rat poison. All right.
Rat poison. Okay.
It didn't use a mouse at all.
Okay.
Is it a touch screen or what?
No, it's all keyboard.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Well, I'm not real sure how old this thing is, but it was running Windows 8 to start with. So that should give you a ballpark of how old it might be. And now I can't even get Windows 8 to reinstall on it. I just completely screwed this thing up.
Want to try XP?
XP might work.
Tablet edition?
Yeah, that might work. It's a little old. Um, it's got from what I have read and what I have seen in the BIOS, it only has EFI and it only supports 32-bit EFI.
Hmm.
Okay.
But but it will only boot 64-bit systems.
No, it'll boot 32 as well.
And I can't get it to boot every time I try to get it to boot a 32-bit system, it complains to me and just doesn't do a damn thing. It just sits there and goes, I can't do this. I'm like, really? Because that's what I thought too. Because a couple of the forums said to use the 32-bit version of Debian, and I could not get it to boot. So I don't know.
So where'd you get this?
Um, Guy in Franklin that I buy, he's got a small auction house, and I buy a bunch of stuff. And we were talking computers one day, and he said, "I've got this tablet." And I said, "Cool." He said, "I can't get it to work." I I think he had forgot his password for Windows XP because it fired up and everything was fine, but he said after a certain point of time it just shuts itself off, which I haven't noticed it doing. But he just handed it to me. He said, "Here, take this." I said,
Good luck.
"Okay." So I've
Maybe
got
that it's got bad memory, and what you're seeing is the effect of that.
it could be, I suppose. Um, yeah, with only one, it's slow. I'm kind of surprised that it was running Windows 8 at all because it just it's dog slow. It is a quad core. I mean, that's its only saving grace. But it does have, you could take the back off and get to the battery. And it does have a SD card slot. And when I put an SD card in it, none of the distros recognize the fact that there's an SD card there.
Hmm.
And I said,
Can you boot off of it,
that's
off
why
the SD?
that's what I wanted to do was try to boot off of it, but none of the distros even recognize that it's there. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Of course, I wonder if I tried a 64 gig. I wonder if it is so old that it only recognizes like 32 gigs or something. Something stupid.
I have some 2 gig if you want,
No, I've got
and plenty of 16s.
I got stacks of that stuff. This whole little this whole little tray that you probably can't see, it's just full of. Here's a 1 gig stick. That's too small. An 8 gig. Here's an 8 gig. That'll work. I should be able to install something on 8 gigs.
I don't think so, yeah.
If it recognizes the fact that it's there. Oh, it's a weird little tablet. I mean, here's a 16 gig. So,
Here's one of my favorites. An old Scepter 32 megabyte drive.
gotta
I can
love
now
that.
buy something 4,000 times as big for way less than what I paid for this.
My sister just texted me. I was checking to make sure it wasn't about dad. So, yeah. I still think that even if it recognizes the SD card, that because it still boots off a 32-bit, it's still going to be a finicky pile of whatever.
Yeah, trying to find a 32-bit OS is not going to be fun.
I could at least see.
Well, you'd have to find an ancient distribution. I don't think most distributions don't aren't available 32 currently.
No, most of them dropped 32-bit either last year or before,
Yeah.
like like a long time ago. And yet there are still some that say use it, for old machines or whatever. But you got to have a USB micro to USB-A adapter. And then because it's only got one USB port, you've got to go into a hub. So I got my keyboard and I've got my bootable USB stick. Such a pain. LMDE4 runs nice. It's nice and quick and snappy, but it won't install.
Oops. That does sound like a memory issue, though.
Yeah, it could be. I was thinking it might have been a heat issue when he was first telling me what it was doing, but it hasn't shut down just randomly. It's when the battery dies, of course it shuts down. But and it does not have great battery life, but it's also probably 10 years old at this point. But that's been my fun adventure, other than completely zoning out on what day it is. I'm a day ahead or a day behind.
Oh,
All
okay.
all day it's been Wednesday. It's been Wednesday all day today.
Well, my adventure for last week, I think I mentioned in an email, is that my ASUS router bought the farm, and it was very strange. Um, we had a very brief power interruption, like you see the lights blink, and that was it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and before that, the router worked fine. It was a fairly old router, but it worked fine. And after that, I could not get it to go. No way. And I could take the router out of the loop, basically uh, tie the input directly into the computer I was working on, and that would work. But of course, I ended up with only one. Uh, so I fooled around with this thing for a few hours, couldn't believe it really happened. And finally decided the only solution was to replace the router. I bought a Asus uh, 7 and plugged it in, hooked it up. It works fine. The whole network is running just fine, no sweat. But I have not figured, I actually haven't spent a lot of time on it, but I haven't figured out what happened to that other router. And so it's sitting there in a pile of stuff. And one of these days, when I get real motivated, I will go through and figure out what happened. But it just died.
Hmm.
I mean, 1 minute it was live, the lights blinked. At that point, it was dead, and I could not resuscitate it. So I don't know if anybody else has had a router die on them, but it was a good Asus router. It was ancient. It was not ancient. It was probably a 4. And I'd only had it for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. But for some reason or another, it blinked and it was gone. So I got the new 7 router, Asus 7 router, and knock wood, it appears to be working okay. And and by the way, it was a good excuse to buy the new router, although it's a bit pricey. I was kind of surprised. It was um, just
Well,
just south of $400. So I mean,
Damn.
yeah.
You can
Oh,
get a fine router in the $100 range.
well, um, when you're desperate, yeah, you're desperate.
I would have to be really desperate to spend that much on a router.
Well, it's a good router. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But
What'd you get?
Asus. Um, it's a 7, and I don't know. I don't remember the numbers right offhand. Amazon, of course, delivered. As a matter of fact, it was touch and go whether it was going to make it for last week's meeting, and as it turned out, it showed up about 4 hours late, and I didn't.
Agonizing 4 hours.
Oh yeah, well, I had ordered it like on Wednesday evening. And, you know, Amazon's, I got to tell you, Amazon delivery system is pretty good, at least for here in Milford. But this was asking a lot. I mean, I ordered it like, I don't know, sometime Wednesday evening, and it arrived, I think, about 9 o'clock on Thursday, which was at that point, what?
Couple hours later.
Well, I was going to say 5 hours too late. And so here I am. It's working fine.
I had an old router die on me before, and amazingly enough, I'm not real sure what happened, but I reflashed the firmware and it started working again.
For what?
It was an old Linksys RT 54 something.
That's
Nope.
what you were able to reflash.
It those things are those old routers, those old WRT routers were rock solid unless they had a problem. And I think it got hit by lightning, but I was getting a power light, but it wasn't doing anything. So I opened it up and I found the JTAG part and reflashed it, and it seemed like it was fine from that point on. But hi, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
I've been having trouble getting my video to come up. I apologize for interrupting, but I'm trying to see myself and I haven't been able to.
Well, we can see you fine.
I don't know. Yep, we see you.
That's your loss and my gain.
Had something happened, Mike?
Well, Julie was having problems when she was doing some of her hospice work the other day of not being able to come up with on the screen. And I don't know what's going on. This is the first time that I've had a problem. I can see that there are 4 participants and I'm one of them, but I don't understand why I'm not seeing everyone.
Click on view and go to gallery view. View is up in the upper right hand corner.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Did that work?
Yes.
Yeah. So somebody either clicked on that or one of the updates changed it for you, and that was nice of them.
The updates don't take because this is the old machine that Vincente gave me a couple of months ago, and I'm still running 8.1 on it. And so they're not doing any updates for that.
Right. So
it's old out.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. Sure enough is.
And it's supposed to snow, and we're supposed to have a blizzard.
That's why I was out in the driveway trying to get all of my material supplies in the garage. I had to disassemble them as is usual.
They're forecasting for us, I think, 6 inches now, and it's supposed to start Friday evening.
Hattie told me we were supposed to get anywhere from a foot to 3 feet, just under 3 feet.
Well, I think it varies quite a bit by your location, meaning micro location, not
Yes.
state, but more like county.
Yeah, I think you're right. But she was telling me that she thought that the kids down in Kentucky were supposed to get hit pretty hard. So,
Well, of course, we're way closer to Kentucky than you are.
right.
So,
I know they keep updating and changing the thing too. So, who knows, when she saw it, it may have been, you know, a little bit worse than what it is now. Let's see what.
3 to 6 inches of snow Saturday afternoon through late Sunday.
Oh, so they have.
and that's for what location, Mike?
That is Middletown.
Okay. Well, meteorology is certainly not an exact science, that's for sure.
Uh, only when Les Nessman is doing the weather report in the helicopter. It's snowing like hell out there.
As God
My
is my
all-time
witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Carlson was wrong about a number of things. Oh.
Weather.com says for me and Franklin, we're expected between 7 and 11 inches. So they've definitely lowered, because it was 11 to 35 inches. So they've definitely lowered their thing, but I guess that's still enough snow.
So one of my favorite weather sites is wonderground.com,
Yeah.
Weather Underground.
Yeah,
They say it's 34 outside. I'm not going to argue with that. Um, but yeah, it's supposed to be cloudy and snowy, but nothing major.
that's Batavia, is it?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're not that far apart. I think we're probably 5 miles or 6 miles as the crow flies.
Oh, I think it's even less than that. But yeah,
But we're also sitting on top of a hill. So I'm sure altitude plays into it to some degree also.
so for me, the 10-day graph shows mostly clear for the rest of the evening. Snow beginning, if it begins, around 2 o'clock Saturday. Light snow Saturday, snow on Sunday.
So 2 o'clock Saturday, not Friday.
Yeah.
Huh.
Sure.
Interesting.
But
Art, I must ask you the logic of leaving a warm state and coming here in the middle of the winter.
Well, uh, long story short, we kind of got tired of um, maintaining two houses. That's fairly expensive, and you know, and I had a lot more equity in California than I do here, so that was a good argument for uh, freeing up the equity in California rather than freeing up the equity here.
I was thinking more simply, it's warm there, it's cold here.
Well, yeah, that's true. There's no question about that. But I think the equity situation probably had more uh, to do with it than, and also, it's uh, the it was very clear that this business of flying back and forth several times a year and trying to maintain two houses and so forth and so on was something that had to stop. It was exhausting, to say the least. And so then having decided that we were going to collapse to one home rather than two, then the issue became one of equity.
And now you got spare blankets.
Well, when you collapse two households into one, you end up with a lot of spare stuff, to say the least. And so, what are we
My nephew
looking?
described it and he said, we have everything we want and two of everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, you know, a lot of stuff is just going to have to go in the dumpster because it's useful to us when we're in that particular home, but it's just spare baggage the rest of the time, and can't give it away and so forth and so on. I mean, obviously we've done a lot of that, and we're still in the process of doing that. The California home isn't sold yet, and my forecast is it's probably going to be the better part of a year before it is. Just in order to get all the accumulate. I mean, we'd live in that home for 30 some years.
Wow.
It's amazing the amount of stuff that you accumulate when you're in one place that long. So at any rate, we're happy with this. We've kind of got, of our three daughters, one of them is a permanent resident of Cincinnati. Well, as permanent as anybody can be. And one of them is a permanent resident of Northern California. And the third one just recently changed employers. And believe it or not, she's now employed by a company that is in the Toledo area. So I guess on average, our daughters are more Ohio than
That means you should live in St. Louis, though, and that's not good.
oh, really?
That would be the weighted average.
Yep.
Okay, well, um, I'm also from Ohio, so that bears into it a little bit. I was born, or so I'm told, in Columbus, Ohio. So,
A friend of mine was a missionary for RLDS Church in Bolivia. And he was talking to his dad, who was also an electrical engineer for GE, and he had retired decades and decades and decades ago. And he was a hoarder. And he said, Dad, you've got
The father was a hoarder?
a friend of mine's father.
Was a hoarder, okay.
And he said, you've got a lot of good stuff. But he said, you're going to have to get rid of it. He said, I can't spend 9 months going through your house in Kansas City. I live in Bolivia. You know, I just can't do it. And my friend said, you know, Dad's got a lot of really, really valuable stuff. If you need a vacuum tube for a 1956 Philco TV, he's your man. But, you know, if you have a house full of stuff and you've just got a handful of things and they're not sorted or cataloged, when his dad passed, they emptied 6 large dumpsters out of his house. And my friend said, I really felt bad doing that, but I didn't really have a choice. So I'm sure that if someone had the opportunity and the time, they could have found all the valuable things that he had hoarded over a lifetime or collected over a lifetime.
Well, you don't have to be a hoarder when you've got 35 years or 38 years, whatever it was. You know, stuff just accumulates.
Yeah.
And unless you are really anal about throwing stuff out, you know, it just accumulates. I mean, we probably have, I'm guessing, 10,000 books in
Damn.
that house in California. Well, I forget what Barbara said. I don't know, we have something like 17 bookcases and so forth and so on. And over the years, I mean, I've collected a lot of books and I really enjoy collecting books, but at some point, unless you've got a library, meaning like almost like a public library, you know, you just don't have space to store.
Yeah.
Now anymore, pretty much everything. I don't think I've bought a hardbound or paperback book in probably a decade. Now everything is ebooks, and of course they store nice and compactly. But before that, we had between us we had quite a accumulation.
I can't say that I haven't bought any books.
Trying to see what it is.
It's I can't
Al-
pronounce it.
Albedo.
Albedo, yeah. I saw that at the flea market and I went, that's interesting. Little mice. Little mice shooting tanks and going to war. So
I remember right, that word has to do with how bright the moon is.
Actually, I thought
So
it was.
the reflectivity of the surface of the moon
mm,
or of a planetoid or whatever, maybe, I don't
I
know. But
I, I think it's the reflectivity of any uh,
okay.
body.
I only
They,
heard it in reference to the moon, and that was when we were landing people there.
ah, okay.
that's a long time ago.
Yeah, yeah, it isn't one of those words in common use.
So
Yeah.
Patty,
My niece sent my wife a message that says it doesn't count as hoarding if it's books.
Oh, really?
Pat Patty made me I got rid of a bunch of video games. And I've done this before. I bought, a huge collection of video games and gotten rid of them and then turned around and bought them all back because I missed them and wanted them. So, um 6 months ago or so, I got rid of a bunch of video games, and Patty goes, "You're not buying these again. If you get rid of them, you get rid of them." And
It's a one-way story.
I'm like,
Well,
okay,
those up there
yeah,
are cyclopedias
yeah,
my dad inherited from his great aunt, and they are from the Civil War era.
ooh,
Now, those are collector items.
Yeah. And there are a couple up there that are fake. We're missing that volume and that one. But I mocked up a copy just so it looks complete. When I was a child, I thought, oh, that'd be really cool to see what the people thought about the Civil War right after it occurred. And there wasn't anything in them at all about the Civil War. It wasn't until later, in thumbing through them, I found it was under the secessionist conspiracy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me guess which perspective that was written from.
I have some friends from Atlanta that refuse to call it anything except the War of Northern Aggression.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. You know, history is written by the victors. So,
yep.
but yeah, I have Patty. Patty watches that show, The Hoarders or whatever it is, where they hire somebody to come and clean out the houses, and I'm like, we've got a bunch of stuff, and she goes, yeah, but we're not hoarders. And I said, well, how do you figure that? She said, well, because you know where all your stuff is, and it's all organized mostly. And I mean, if I asked you for something, I could go and get it, or you could go and get it. And I'm like, true. And she said, the mindset of the hoarder is they don't want to get rid of anything, but they have no idea what they have. So,
In 1973, a friend of mine was hired to clean out a woman's apartment. She had been a Ziegfeld recording artist and had recordings of her voice on one side of 78 RPM records. And her husband had died like 35 years before he was hired. Her apartment, she could only go through the hallway and through the rooms sideways. And she was a very petite lady, but she tripped, fell, and broke her hip and could not get up. And the neighbors noticed that they hadn't seen her for a couple of days, and they got the super to open up the apartment building and got rescue in there and got her out and into the hospital. And her niece was notified, and she came in, looked around, and said, "Oh no, you're not coming back here." And so, through a friend of a friend, my friend was hired to go through her apartment. And in the 30s and 40s, these would have been spectacularly luxurious apartments in Kansas City. As it was, the rooms were very, very large. Probably half the living room in her apartment was probably half the size of the ground floor of my home. But she would open the door and put stuff over the door into the room. So, because she couldn't get the doors open. Half of her bed was stacked all the way to the ceiling. She only had half to. There were some rooms that she hadn't been in. It was like an archaeological dig because my friend said, help, help, I'm never going to get this done on spring break. And you could see where she would go as a social occasion to Salvation Army every Wednesday and buy something and bring it home. And the sack, the receipt, and the item were just sitting there. She never used it. And then the next week would be the same thing. So you could look at the newspapers. She didn't throw anything away. So every newspaper for 35 years was in there.
Yep.
Her cans of food, she would wash out, put inside a plastic bag, put a twist tie on it, put inside another plastic bag, put another twist tie on it. So there was no infestation of rodents or insects or anything. And everything was quite clean. But it was like a going back in time to read the newspapers, see what was going on. And when we got back to the period of time where her husband died, his clothes were still in the closet. It was just an amazing situation. I've never had anything like that since.
That sounds like my grandmother. My grandmother on my mom's side was crazy. I mean, that's the best word for it. And she did all of her shopping at St. Vincent's and Goodwill and wherever. She used to give us probably $1,000 worth of stuff per child every year for Christmas. But it was all stuff from Goodwill. It was models that somebody had started to build and was fine except for that big glue thumbprint in the windshield, and clothes that were fine except for that stain and the fact that they were 1970s acrylic clothing with the huge zipper pulls. It was just awful. And I remember one year we had a full-size Ford Econoline van. It took 6 trips to get all of the stuff that Grandma gave us from Grandma's house to ours. We didn't live that far apart. It was probably only 5 miles, but 6 trips in a van that didn't have any of the back seats in it to bring home
Stuff.
Oh, yeah. I think I got like 400 shirts one year for Christmas. And you had to sit there and thank her. And then she realized we weren't paying much attention, so she started hiding dollar bills in stuff. So then we'd sit there and we'd flip through the books and look through the pockets of the clothing and stuff. And it was honestly traumatizing. And now I look at my office and go, oh crap, I'm my grandmother. Except I don't go out and buy crap just to give to other people. That's the difference, I guess.
Well, it's one thing when you are satisfied with hand-me-downs for yourself. It's quite another when you gift stained clothing. That
was kind of special.
Yeah, if you were on the street homeless, it would be a great gift. 400 shirts that have torn pockets or missing buttons.
Yeah, you can make a hell of a nest in that.
Uh, See, I'm kind of the mindset that young kids, Patty wants to give the grandkid a brand new bicycle every year. And I'm like, why can't, I mean, he's 2. Why can't we find a decent used bike? He will never know the difference.
Yeah,
He will ride it around, he will have a ball, and then when he's done with it, they could give it back to Goodwill or somewhere,
trade
and
it in for a little bigger one.
another kid could play with it. I mean, kids won't really know the difference until they get to be 8, 9, 10 years old. Then they might care that they're getting a used bike.
My
But
first new bike was a red Schwinn with a banana seat that I got when I was 8 or 9 for my birthday.
right.
I remember, and I had quite a few used bikes. I remember my first moped was a Caravella, maybe, I don't know, a little yellow Italian thing that I worked to buy. I have social security statements going back to 1981 or 2. I have paid income tax every year since 1982, and I'm tired of doing that. Screw them. But yeah, I wanted a bike, so I got a job and got a bike. I didn't buy the Schwinn, but I did buy the moped.
Yeah. Well,
Only new bike I've ever owned is the recumbent trike that I built myself.
let's see, you all are kind of proving my point. People people really wouldn't care as long as it's in decent condition.
Yeah,
It's a nice bike,
Yeah.
whether somebody owned it ahead of time or not.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean, $75 for a brand new bike for a 2-year-old or $10 at the Goodwill.
yeah.
I would much rather spend $10 and he be happy, and if he crashes and destroys it, you're not sad about it.
Or at least as sad.
Or as sad, yeah. As long as he's all right, you don't care if he destroyed the bike.
Well, as long as it's not malicious.
Right. Knowing our grandkids, it could very well be malicious. When so they've got a 2-year-old, and they've got, I think he's 8 now. So they waited for quite a while before they had a second kid. But the two of them don't they live in the same room, and his mom is like, we're going to have to buy a bigger house because eventually the older one's going to not be happy that his brother is in his room.
I don't know about that. I had 3 boys. They all lived in one room until, let's see, till the oldest was 11, I think. And at that point, he started taking really long showers, so we decided he needed his own room.
Yeah, I think Annie is realizing the two are, they are quite different people. and having them live together at least for a little while is working, but it's not going to work forever.
Well, this is not directly related, but it's kind of related. My brother is 17 years older than I am, so there weren't very many hand-me-downs from him to me. In 2002, I went to visit him in California. He lives in Daly City. And he said, I've outgrown all these clothes. By outgrowing them, he doesn't mean he got too tall for them. So I picked up a couple of suits, a nice blazer, some really nice pants and stuff, and I didn't have any problem with that. They're you know a nice set of clothing. Well, I was working for the attorney down in Houston, and we had a trial in Paris, Texas. And the plaintiff's counsel asked for $12.5 million, and the jury gave them nothing. So I called my brother afterwards, and I had been keeping him up to date as to progress on this 2-week trial. And at the end, I said, we polled the jury. You're allowed to do that if they wish to speak to you. And you can say, what was the deciding factor? And I told my brother, the jury said, well, we like that one guy's suits. And you could hear him go, oh, over the telephone.
Yeah.
That was also the trial. This is never going to happen again in my entire lifetime. I had been on the stand in the morning. We had taken a break, and the judge would see other cases that had settled or needed work done. And so everybody came back for lunch. We're all milling around out in the hallway while he's having other court cases go on before we return to work. And so the plaintiff's attorney waited until I get back on the stand, and he's wanting to get an objection to start his afternoon off. That's his strategy. So he says, I noticed that you had a very animated conversation with your attorneys out in the hallway. What were you talking about? He knows he can't ask that. But we weren't talking about anything that was legal. So I got to say in response, squirrel hunting. And he said, are you a squirrel hunter? I said, no. It's like, now he's gone and he has nowhere to go. So I got to answer a question, squirrel hunting. He didn't get the objection because the attorney I worked with was not about to say anything because he knew we hadn't discussed anything that had anything to do with the case. Anyway, I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent.
We know you said something.
Yeah.
Squirrel hunting.
Squirrel hunting. I think sometime. Some Vicente's coming. Some time ago, you had started to ask a question, Art, and hang on.
Well, I've long since forgotten, so sorry
About
about that.
about this thing. about what this.
Oh.
So,
So what is it?
That is a very cool toy. I just bought one of those today, actually. NanoPi R5C. It's both of those ports are 2.5 gigabit per second, so it should outrun anything that you can get in Cincinnati currently. It boots off of micro SD. You can write a file system to it. It'll run Ubuntu, though I'm going to install OpenWRT on it. You can So you basically you have an internal bridge and an external bridge, and you can assign ports or wireless to either of those bridge, and you do your routing between it. So
Mhm.
you can set it up so that it's got 2.5 gig bonded ports going into your network, and it connects to wireless to give you 5 gig Ethernet internally, or any combination. You can have your internet come in on one port, go out on the other port, and wireless or whatever. Um, you can also run um, aircrack on that thing and connect it to your neighbor's wireless, in theory.
in, th- in theory, but Steve had put a link to it in from Amazon for $95, $96,
I
and
actually got it for $4 off of that, so 91,
91.
and everybody else was charging shipping
Oh,
that
okay.
took it up to 92.
Well,
So
I didn't check shipping on this, but
yeah,
it's a little cheaper. Maybe without
I have
shipping.
65. Hello.
Hello?
I have in Amazon, I have 65,
yep.
99.
You got it for
Yeah.
65?
Yeah.
Yeah, just look for the NanoPi R5C. There's a couple of, I think UE2 is selling them cheaper. But it doesn't look to be the exact same thing. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I can share the page
I was just sharing that
in the
uh
chat. I will put the link.
I was just saying that potentially could save $10, $9. Okay.
I don't see the antennas, but no, it comes with antennas. Yeah.
Well, actually, I got the one without antennas
Okay.
$65.
because I have a pile of wireless cards. It uses
Those
one of those little internal PCIe type E cards.
Can be used as a repeater for my
Yes.
network? Because
Yeah, you
I
can use it
use
as an access point. You can use it as a router. Um, you could use it as a two-port switch if you want. It can do pretty much anything that you can conceive of a piece of network equipment doing. It'll also run a container with Pi-hole on it, so you can do whole house ad blocking.
Can you do Bitcoin mining?
Very, 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 very slowly.
these are NanoPis, so they're SBCs. They're like Raspberry Pis, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So they'll run Linux and all kinds of other stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an ARM board. So the $65 one, that's curious. So that's $12 delivery, and it shows up between February 23rd and March 3rd. And it actually says that it has wireless. 802.11a, AC, B, G, N.
Well, it's a month of ahead, right?
Well, it's
The delivery is very late.
But then underneath it says M.2 Wi-Fi module support. Doesn't say that it actually has one.
Mm.
support module optional.
Hmm.
That's coming from China.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. You found it cheap, but it's going to take forever to get here.
Yeah, and the one that I got is going to be here tomorrow and free shipping.
Easy to return.
Yep.
If you don't like it.
Where is
Yeah.
where's Friendly Electric based out of? They're not.
Korea, probably.
Yeah, they're not. They're not in the States. China.
But I got the CM3588 from them, several of them. I'm very happy with that.
Based on Friendly Electric's phone number, they are based in China. So could save a little bit of money, but you're probably going to end up paying more in duties and taxes and all that other fun stuff.
But there's a whole bunch of NanoPi stuff that is very good for running routers. The one at my mom's house is crap. What's it called? The one OpenWRT one.
Yeah, I remember. I mean, the Linksys WRT 54G routers were the start of that whole WRT project.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember running WRT firmware on those things, and it was amazing what kind of features just changing the firmware added and did. But those routers are something that, you know, they're very old now.
I have a few more. If you need them, I've got 3 or 4 of them.
I ended up,
I've got 2 of the L models, the ones that they designed to be open source.
yeah. Well, one time I had the T-Mobile version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that one had more RAM, I believe, but it was a little harder to get it to uh, flash different firmware. And I had another one that I don't remember what model it was. It had more RAM, but it also was a little bit more complicated to get it to flash a different firmware. Not that it was impossible. It was just hard to do. You just had to do extra stuff to do it. But those routers, ham radio people were using those for a long time because part of it fell in the ham band, and then that project went away. So I got rid of all those because I probably had 20 of those damn routers, all flashed with the ham radio version of OpenWRT because I wanted to play ham radio. It was set up as a mesh network.
The Amazon link at the bottom there is what I got my mom. It's the same thing as the link above it, but I put a
I think you froze. You put a
Yeah, I'm definitely
okay.
frozen here.
Yeah,
Oh, you're freezing.
yeah. God, I hate my work laptop. From my perspective, I'm online. I see motion from
Yeah,
everybody
we
else.
got frozen.
Yep.
I hate my work laptop,
Going through
but
that VPN.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but this is what I got for my mom's house. Um, I put in a 256 gig NVMe. It runs NFS and has a Pixie server. I can walk her through restarting her machine, booting off a Pixie, and doing a backup. And if she can do a backup, she can do a restore if she ever needs to. But I've got 3 images of her computer on her router. And actually, that little micro SD card in there is the OS and instructions on how to recover that machine if it ever dies, which it shouldn't. Plus, it also runs Tailscale, so I can connect into it. Actually, at one point, I did an update to it, and it took out one of the bridges. Tailscale still worked, but she couldn't get to the internet. I was
Interesting.
able I was able to fix it remotely. That was kind of fun. And then I stopped updating it remotely.
Have you heard of the Node Pass project?
No.
It is I'm not sure if I actually understand it. I think it's kind of like Tailscale.
Yeah.
It's a TCP UDP tunneling protocol that you run yourself. You run on your own.
Hmm. What I'm seeing is Node.js stuff. I don't think that's what you meant.
I put a link to it in the thing.
Yosby. Huh.
I was thinking about trying that. I think it's a I think it's a Dockerfile or a Docker thingamabob. But I don't know.
I'm very, very happy with Tailscale. Um, it runs on practically anything, including your phone. And you can set any node as an exit node. So my mom can connect to my TV tuner here. Um, I, it's kind of neat. But yeah, this looks similar.
I had tried one of them. I don't remember what that one was. I thought I had it configured. It seemed to work within the internal network, but as soon as I tried to connect to it from an external network, it acted like I was nuts. So I had something misconfigured somewhere, and I don't know what. And I remember thinking to myself, I read the thing, an easy way to set up tunneling, and I'm like, this was not easy. This was one of the most complicated things I've ever seen in my life. So I don't remember what that was though. But that's when I ran across this node pass thing and went, oh, maybe this might be easy. I don't know. One of my machines, I don't know if it I don't know what it's doing. It's losing uh the machine seems like it's up and running, but it loses connection to the router every now and then that causes all kinds of weird hate and discontent. I can't get to it remotely when it does that, so I just have to reboot it. So, yeah. So this tablet did recognize the 16 gig card, so it must be a it, it must not recognize the 64. It must be limited to 32 gigs or less. Kernel panic! Kernel panic! Poor little Tux. But it did. It recognized the 16 gig card and it's still not right. Anybody want a project?
If you have any takers, I have plenty of projects also.
It would have been cool if it would have worked, but I'm kind of at the point where I don't know what to do with this thing now. I can't get it to do anything. Put it on eBay as a project. Here's a project.
Sale.
It's a little Windows 8 tablet that doesn't have Windows 8 on it anymore. You need more projects, Vicente.
No, not at all. I'm working in the camera.
Yeah. That's the ESP32.
Yeah.
Yep.
S3 is a wave share display with a camera connector.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing with it. Was hard to find the camera pinout, but finally, because I bought a camera from Amazon
Mm-hmm.
to plug in the board, and I had a lot of trouble with this camera, and today I changed the for another camera, and it's working. So the camera from Amazon is damaged. I need to return it. I still have the package. I think there is a couple of pins open, so the image is blurry. It's a disaster. The problem is the screen is horizontal and the camera is vertical, you know?
Right.
So I bought a camera with a large flat cable, so I can turn the cable to fix the camera direction. But before bending the cable, I made several tests and the camera is not working. So I will return it or change for another one because I need the cable larger to twist to rotate the camera 90 degrees because I want to have the camera in the same landscape than
Mm.
the display, you know. But meanwhile, I am learning how to use the display, and it has an accelerometer also, 90 degrees or 6 degrees. It has a demo, 6 degrees of, I think you can not see a thing there. No,
It's a
right?
little bright, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'll forget it. But it's the ESP32 S3 that is supposedly faster processing images. I will try. I also bought another ESP ESP33 32 camera. This one already has the USB connector in the back. You see,
Okay, yeah. Yeah.
it's a single board because the ESP32 S3 already have the USB interface. You know, you don't need any hardware around the microcontroller to connect to USB. There,
Yeah.
you only have the flash memory, and the microcontroller is the only important stuff in the board. And in the other side is the camera, just the camera and the micro SD. Uh,
And that's got an S3 on it too, also.
Excuse me?
That's also an S3.
Yes,
Yes,
this is an S3. It's the same configuration that the display. Same flash memory, same SP RAM memory. So I can the pin out is different, but I already checked.
right.
I am already working with this board, so I can move the programs from one board to another. My idea is use this to develop the line follower, looking in the screen, the line, and the program that trying to figure out where the line is. And after that, I can move the program to a small board
Mm-hmm.
to put in the robot. Then I don't need the screen to check, just to run the
Right.
code and see how it works, turning around the track.
Is that the board with
Yeah, but is the other one with there is a bezel around. It's a touch screen.
oh, okay, a
Uh,
touch screen.
It's this almost the same, but it has a a bezel in the front.
Okay.
Not this one. It's the same hardware, but it has a like a plastic stuff around the screen
Right.
that make easier to use because it's like protected by this border. It costs a couple bucks more also.
That's not it, but something like that around the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's this one. I'll send you the link. Copy. Try this.
I think that's my link. I think I just.
You have the
Oh.
link?
Oh, there it is. Jeez.
Yeah.
I've lost my mind. I've lost my mind, Vicente.
Mhm. Mm, Let me check my orders. That was from Amazon. Mm, but I bought it without the camera. So I have a lot of trouble trying to make it work. I don't see the. Okay.
It's got the accelerometer,
Yes.
battery
This is
power.
this is the link for Amazon.
Okay.
The next one. But this is without the camera.
Without the camera.
Yeah.
And there's only a couple of them left.
Yeah. But I have a box full of cameras, different lenses.
Vicente is not a hoarder. He keeps all his stuff organized.
Yeah.
He just has a lot of
I do.
stuff. Yeah, you missed part of that conversation, Vicente,
Yeah, what happened?
about hoarders.
I don't know. I don't know what it means. So
Collecting a whole bunch of
I miss
stuff,
nothing. Huh?
getting a whole bunch of stuff.
This is the camera I bought from Amazon with a larger
Yeah,
connector, but it doesn't work. It has one pin is not connected. I know which one is bad, but I don't plan to correct the thing. I will return to Amazon.
yeah. Probably better just to return it.
I still have the original package. It was inside this round container. And the original bag. So I will start the return. Is everybody prepared for the winter storm?
Meh.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get nearly as much as what they first said.
I need to put a lot of polls around my driveway because my neighbor used to clean my driveway for free. He liked to use his machine for that, but I need to set the poles between the grass and the driveway because after the snow you don't see where the driveway was. So maybe Saturday morning I will put like 50 poles all around. But will be very cold also, very, very cold.
Yeah.
Today I received this USB cable. Supposedly you can turn around in all directions, 360 degrees, and the connector is also 360 degrees. So,
Is that data or just power?
but I asked for both. You know, I don't know. You see the
I only see two.
It,
mm,
it's pretty blurry. Yeah.
no, but there are one, two, three, four. There are four wires
Ah,
connected.
cool.
Four rings.
Rings.
Well, my idea was to connect this in the top of the board of the robot and see how it turns around, but it's very strong. The magnet doesn't work the way, it's very hard to turn. So I think won't work. But anyway, I bought two, one red and one black. The red is 10 feet. It's very large.
They're hard to find now, but a thing I used with slower serial communications and power were the old swivel plugs that you could get to go on your handset on your telephone. Those actually
Oh,
worked pretty
yeah.
well.
Yeah.
And phone cords
I
were cheap and plentiful.
I try with Bluetooth and works very well, but I need to add another board to do the Bluetooth link. I also try with this HC 12 using it at 115 volts, 1,000 volts.
Hmm.
But the problem is the REPL interface of MicroPython. Is a terminal. It has a very strict timeout for return for the echo. So
Okay.
sometimes you lose the link. But a lot of time, almost all the time, you are losing your link with the robot. So finally, it's not possible to use this for remote operation of the MicroPython thing. I have a solution working with Bluetooth, but I need to attach another ESP32 running the Bluetooth link. It's a little messy to have two boards in the robot. Anyway, this is also a board. The radio is also a board. So maybe I can use those very little ESP32s with antenna and check. I was trying to use the ESP32 S C3.
Yeah.
Uh,
C6. Isn't it a
this is
C6?
the C3. This is the C3. But this has Bluetooth low energy, and it's a pain trying to connect serially using Bluetooth low energy. You need to do a lot of twist to load some application in your Windows environment to connect low energy Bluetooth to a virtual serial port, you know. I was trying to do it for several hours, and finally I decided to stop trying because I love the size of this board for that, but after the trouble, I stopped
Yeah.
trying to use it. This is the ESP32 S C3,
C3.
the C3. It has a tiny antenna. Here it's a very tiny antenna. It's like a capacitor, but in short distance won't be a problem. There is another option that is to use your your Wi-Fi network, and this is supported by the MicroPython environment. You can use the REPL with a W at the beginning. Is a word or something like that. Means Wi-Fi REPL. This works, okay, but you need to have a Wi-Fi network to test the robot. So maybe I use this and I use my phone as a tether in the meetings to create a network to do the demo
Yeah.
because this is the clean way. The problem is that I using a Raspberry Pi Pico in the robot, and the boards I bought that are microbit compatible doesn't have Wi-Fi, so I again the same problem. I also have the ESP32 boards compatible with microbit, but they cost like 5 times the cost of the Raspberry Pi Pico.
Yeah.
So not a good solution. I see. That's it. I have a bunch of experiments working in a lot of stuff at the same time.
I have a bunch of just old Raspberry Pis, but that won't help you, I don't think. Unless you set one up to be a router or something.
I can try I have the Raspberry Pi Pico, but in the format standard format, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I found an adapter in England to adapt the Raspberry Pi Pico to the microbit board
Okay.
in it costs like $7, but I was checking the PCB and they have several problems in the wiring. I don't like it. They don't have the power. The VCC and ground is isolated in the board. I don't know why. So I can't use it really in the robot. It's very strange how they did this work because it's half of the lines connected from the Raspberry Pi Pico, but no ground, nor VCC, nor 3.3 volts to the edge of the connector are isolated. I don't know why. I don't think they sell much boards of those because my idea maybe to do my own board, my own adapter, but I need time to do that. I have another queue of stuff to do. Stack.
Another stack of stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
I had to dig in my old box of Raspberry Pi stuff to find an adapter for this tablet. And started playing with a bunch of my old Raspberry Pis.
Okay.
That's one of the old zeros.
There is a lot of stuff with the Raspberry Pi Pico, and used to be cheaper than any other solution.
Yeah.
Though you have the microcontroller also have two cores, but is running on 2/3 of the speed of the ESP32. I think it's 180 megahertz. Uh, and you don't have Wi-Fi included. You need to buy something to connect to Wi-Fi or to radio, whatever. This is an audio interface.
Yeah, that one apparently is running a MQTT broker on it. And apparently I had it set up so that so it would talk. It's got eSpeak and something else on it. If I believe what's on the back side of it. I got a bunch of I'm like you. I got a bunch of projects.
I just had this envision that you're going to have it in a box labeled "Talk Dirty to Me."
Talk dirty to me, yes. Here's one running that boots up into basic. So it's running just a basic. I don't know why I did that.
Because basic is fun.
That's
It's
basic.
it's a basic computer.
It's a basic
You have
computer.
the keyboard, the monitor, and the board. I have one of those in the basement with the monitor and everything in a box. I have exactly the same thing.
Here's one running Pi-hole. Why it has a 64 gig card, I have no idea, but
Extended logging.
I guess that seems a bit excessive for that.
Loving what?
What is this? My notes that tell me what this is running some sort of cool. That's running a Zork server, so I can play Zork.
Nice.
Yeah.
Have you got notes on that one?
Not good notes.
It's
It's probably running like Franz or something, and it just you boot up. I'm gonna have to play with that one. I forgot I did that. I thought I had a bunch of SD cards in my mix with. Here's a whole bunch more SD cards, micro SD cards, full size SD cards. because at one point, Raspberry Pis used full-size SD cards.
I've still got a Pi 1 around here somewhere.
Yeah. I gave all my Pi 1s away. You guys probably inherited most of them.
You want one?
I can't imagine why I need one.
To make use of that full-size SD card you've got.
Let's see. This one here. Oh, this one just displays random stuff on the display. That's nothing special. What's this one? Oh, that one doesn't have an SD card. Oh, this is part of the ham radio project that never. Yep. And that part of that project has moved on a long time ago, so I doubt that even works anymore. And what do I got? I've got some sort of weird RF link, but I've only got one of them, so I don't know how I would talk to it. I don't know how I would talk to anything that would even remotely use that because I've only got one of those. And a bunch of sound cards. Bunches of sound cards. And I'm down to my last two Wi-Pis. USB Wi-Fi cards for the Raspberry Pi. Those have come in handy for other things. And I'm pretty sure that this is Bluetooth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that these are all Bluetooth dongles. And I know for a fact this is Bluetooth because it says so. This is, organized, and I put it up and I forgot about it. But you remember this? I'm getting rid of this. Wait a second. Virtual backgrounds. Let me turn it off. Why wouldn't you let me turn it off? There we go. Remember that a long time ago you could actually program Arduino. You could use Arduino to program. So this is the Piduino.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I don't know if that still works. You could write a program and in Arduino and just have it shipped over to it. And it would do whatever. I found that. And motor controllers. Got a bunch of motor controllers for the Raspberry Pis. And the original Raspberry Pi Zero that didn't have Wi-Fi on board. I've got 2 more of these Wi-Fi boards for the Raspberry Pi Zero. Those work wonderful, but who has a Raspberry Pi Zero anymore?
Thanks.
Is that a challenge?
I bet if I keep digging through this box, I'll find something. I had a bunch of them at one time. Every time I would go to Micro Center, they were $5.
Oh yeah, and on March 14th they were $3.14.
Yeah, just give me one of those. I'll turn around, put stuff in the car, go back in. Give me another Raspberry Pi. That's a good little robotics board.
Mhm.
That has, pretty sure this has analog interface on it. It's got the header for your ultrasonic sensor, and I think it can do 4 motors, and it's got the I2C, and I thought it had an analog sensor. I don't see that now. That's not a bad little board. This bigger one might have the analog sensor. So I'm pretty sure we're virtual next week again. And hopefully I won't lose a day and get the meeting announcement out earlier. Yep. Next week we're virtual again. And then February 5th, which I verified, we are actually in the room.
Well, as you guys know, I bought a little mini lathe, and I was watching Matthias Wandel, and he mentioned that the tables for cutting thread patterns are in error on many of the machines he had looked at. So I thought it would be a good idea to confirm the manual I had didn't have any errors. So I wrote a little routine to go through in a spreadsheet, calculate 4 gears, 16 choices on each one of them to
Amazing.
calculate all of the metric thread patterns. 810,000 different combinations. And I realized right away that I could not look through all of those. So I put a column in there to keep track of what was the least error prone.
Mhm.
And I discovered that in fact, the manual on the lathe had an error, which I highlighted and fixed. It cuts imperial threads exactly. But when you start going through and trying to do all of the different combinations of gears to see what you can cut for metric threads on an imperial lathe, you find out that you can get close, but none of them match.
What's
My
the
God
difference?
made taps and dies.
Well, yeah, you could do taps and dies. I don't have taps big enough on some of the stuff.
You have the error percentage of the error or something?
Some of them were as much as 3%,
Okay.
and some of them went down to like 0.008%,
Okay.
which if you're only milling, you know, a 6-inch object, you'd never be able to measure that error. But I thought it was kind of fun.
Uh, I knew I would. There's, but those are the zero W's. So those have Wi-Fi. They're useless. But
Yeah.
I knew I'd find some.
Yeah.
Those other boards are useless.
The zero.
Gosh, there's just so much stuff in this box. There's a brand new 16 gig card that's never been used. What is this? Huh? Brand new in the box. LCD.
Mhm.
Maybe I am a hoarder. I can't get rid of this stuff. I've got no use for it, but I can't get rid of it.
Yeah, the woman that was going through her grandfather's shed after he passed away and found the box labeled pieces of string too short to save.
Here's one Steve will um, appreciate. And I know exactly where this one came from.
Ah, I had a few of those little Linksys Ethernet adapters.
Windows 98. Picked them right up. Knew exactly what to do with them. Had the drivers built in. God, that thing is 20 years old.
Bet it still works.
I bet it does. And I bet everything that I bet if I plugged it in right now, it would go, hey, there's an Ethernet thing plugged in.
blue,
Yeah, but
blue screen of death is going to come up and say, in order to avoid seeing this screen, always shut your machine down properly. And then it crashes again.
yeah. Not that I
Well,
ever argue on Reddit, but somebody posted a thread about how they missed doing installs of Windows 95 and 98, how simple it was. I'm like, oh, I call bullshit. It took
there's like 100
4 hours.
floppies you had to feed them.
I could do net installs of 95 with a single floppy disk, and it still took 4 hours to get back to a usable system with all of my applications, and I scripted almost all of it. It still took multiple reboots.
I I I don't know. We did have a set of, was it 95 on floppy? It was one of them on floppy. And that one,
95 was on like 23 floppies.
Yeah.
yeah. Um, I don't ever remember actually doing that though, because I think we put everything on CD. I think we
Yeah.
and just kind of pointed it to the CD.
I even had a booting Windows 3 floppy installer or CD installer.
Yeah. Now, Windows 3, yeah, I know that was on floppy.
But it was only 4.
Yeah, I don't. And that one was easy. That one was pretty quick, if I remember right. Windows 95 was the big one, and that one, I remember one of them, it rebooted and then it continued to install stuff and reboot it. It was a typical Windows. Oh, look, an update, reboot. Oh, look, more updates, reboot,
The mouse has moved.
reboot. Oh, you held your head sideways, reboot.
Yet exactly what machines we had at work, but the floppy drives sounded like you were grinding grain whenever they would seek it. It's like I wanted to leave the room when I was having to use them to install that.
I saw
a truck coming.
I was reading a forum not too long ago, and it had to have been from somebody who either just got introduced to Commodore 64 or just did not realize about the floppy drives. But they were like, the floppy drives can run programs. Well, duh, it's a 6502 in there. Duh. There was actual programs written for the floppy drive to play music and all kinds of stuff. I mean, where have you been for the past 40 years? I smell my food coming, so it's time to go.
That time.
Yeah, we'll see everybody next week, hopefully.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Right.
Bye.